me in VIP. All eyes on me. Yeah, where the girls are. This is how your night should be. All eyes on me.
All eyes on the prize, money supersized. G5 super fly, should be supervised. Do or die, open up your eyes, head to the sky. Keep a mean bad mommy on the side. Make a tsunami, kamikaze on the mind. Spit flow, paparazzi flash shine. Get dough, champagne, Merlot. Cash and tango, in the VIP. Now she wanna touch her ankle. Get low, mueve mami como el dembow. All eyes on me, peeping through the window. Get mine, get yours, believe it or not. In the meantime, I'ma keep my eyes on the
All
top.
eyes on me, drinks on me, girls on me, on the dance floor. All eyes on me, who is he? Man, you better come get your girls out. All eyes on me, party like a rock star. You can find me in VIP. All eyes on me, yeah, where the girls are. This is how your night should be.
All eyes on me, indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, Ali Medad with a brand new installment of the ME Show. Your strategic partners in the building. And boy, oh boy, this episode, whoo, y'all be ready. Man, get your popcorn. Cat Williams got nothing on me. Because this session that we're about to have right now, I've been waiting for about a year plus. And it's nothing negative, nothing promiscuous or gossipy, but this gentleman and I are so alike, so much so that we are both July babies, that both of our first names, Ali, that both of our backgrounds from faith, from business, from the traditional business are so in full alignment that our lives got in a crow's path in the most interested way possible, but we share the same core values, and I'm super, super excited. Traditional business owner by trade, converted into online business, took advantage of the financial markets, whether it was in Forex or crypto, has become a mega, mega superstar in the network marketing space, has even gotten to executive management. He's an investor and soon to be many other things, and I'm going to just be nice because they're all under construction. I don't want to give it away just yet. But I'm super excited to have here and with us the one, the only Ali Saleh. What's up, my guy? What's up? What's up?
How are you?
So excited. Glad to have you in here, man.
Thank you,
It's been
sir.
a long time coming.
Yeah, it's an honor, man. I mean, you know, I think this is what, like a year in the making?
I think so. Yeah, just June of 2023.
Right.
And yeah, June 2023. So we're going
Like 10 months.
10 months.
10
Yeah,
months, yeah.
that is insane.
The buildup has been good, but at the same time, man, it's one of those things where it's all about alignment and timing. And I think timing is everything. So we're here today. I'm excited, man.
So let's get into it. First and foremost, if you're checking me out right in here on the screen, you can actually click a quick pause and use whatever device that you have, and you can scan to go directly to Ali Saleh's Instagram, or you can just go and look him up on Instagram, ali.wealth. That's at ali.wealth. He's a wealth of knowledge, wisdom, and a heck of a funny guy. Sometimes he drops some fun stories that you just want to make sure that you are connected with him. All right, I want to dig right into it, my guy, because I've been waiting for a while. Let's talk first and foremost about your background, and your story is incredible from where your parents, specifically the sacrifices that were made, how you've come to the United States, and some of the things that you had to endure. Naturally, I remember when I came to the States from Morocco, I came in June 20th, 2002, and boy, every time somebody heard the name Ali, you know, it was like, you have a bomb, you know, so I had to deal a lot with that.
Yeah,
so let's talk about your upcoming and how did you grow to become who you are today? Talk to me about how that all started.
For sure. I'd be happy to. So first and foremost, I want to just, you know, say none of this would be possible without the grace of God, my parents, you know, making the ultimate sacrifice, because my parents actually left Afghanistan in 1982 with the Soviet invasion, came to the US, and, you know, they didn't really have anything at all. Like most immigrants don't, but they came here as refugees, which was a different designation, especially back then, you know. And Reagan was president. And when my dad came to this country, it was him, all of his siblings, and he was one of the only people in his family who spoke English. So he had to look after not only his immediate family and his parents, but then his offspring as well. So my dad came to this country, worked 4 jobs out of the gate, and then I made my appearance in this beautiful world, July 3rd, 1990.
The grand opening.
Yeah, the grand opening of Ali Saleh. And, you know, at that point, my dad was well experienced. He was 33 years old when he had me. And to be fair, my upbringing was very different than my siblings and even my cousins, you know, because they grew up very differently than I did, because my parents were also, and all my uncles and aunts were in learning mode. So they grew up a little bit more savage than I did. I came in, I was kind of coddled a bit, and I was the youngest in my family. So my brothers and my cousins and my sister, they all paved like a pathway for me to live a better life than them, you know, and they had to go through some things that, you know, I never had to go through, right? Like talking about living in Brooklyn, having the apartment being broken into, having to experience poverty, right? When I came to the world, my dad was already established.
The 90s movie style.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, honestly, when I was a kid, I was really shy, you know, like, but I was very, once I got to know someone, like they saw the true me, and I'm still like that till this day. I have my guards up for a little bit, and then over time it comes down. But, you know, when I was in high school, I was like friends with everybody, right? Like I didn't have like a clique. Like I was friends with absolutely everybody. And then when I got out of high school, man, I just had no desire for college. Like I did it because my parents really wanted me to.
What did you major in?
So I was going to take a few different paths, right? So it was either going to be a biology degree, right? It was either going to be some sort of IT degree or political science, because I've always loved speaking out. And eventually I wanted to become a lawyer, maybe get into politics. I wanted to even potentially become a lobbyist, right?
Do you want to hear a fun fact?
Sure.
Ali Midawi in Morocco. I actually so graduated when I was 16 in high school. Like I actually came to the States already as a graduate of high school, but I had to do it all over again. But I was going for law school.
No way.
More to come on the alignment, you know. Go on, please.
Crazy. You would have made an exceptional lawyer.
I think the SCC would agree with you.
I'm dead. I'm dead. You are savage. So yeah, and then, you know, I got accepted into like Temple University and a few other places, and then I just was like, I'm gonna go to community college. Yeah, because I was like, look, it was 2008. Housing market was down. It had affected everybody. My dad's business wasn't doing that great.
Bush was president, so that was an interested presidency.
Yeah, and this is where, you know, what we're experiencing right now in the world kind of started to, you know, snowball into what it is today, $34 trillion in debt. We'll talk about all that stuff later. But I just had no direction. Yeah. Just to be honest.
And like in life path.
Yeah. Like I was like a plastic bag floating in the wind. And then I did like 3 months of community college. When I first got started, I was all in. I was like first to show up to my class. I was taking notes, and everything was going great. And after like maybe 2 months into the semester, it's probably like 4 or 5 weeks left until winter break. I'm just like, screw this. I'm going to go work. And I started working, and I was just like working a bunch of dead end jobs, like literally a bunch of dead end jobs.
Give me some examples of some of the jobs that Ali Saleh, that no one would even think that you would be doing.
Okay. So the first job I ever got, I was 15. I worked at Quiznos.
Okay.
And I got this job because I wanted to buy video games, and I didn't want to put pressure on my parents. I'm serious.
So were you a cashier or you actually handling
No,
sandwiches?
I was a sandwich artist.
Okay. Hold on. That's what they call it?
They call it a sandwich artist at Subway. I don't remember what they call it at Quiznos, but
shame on y'all, man. Like you drag the word artistry that low.
Hey, they got to make it you know, appealing for the masses, and good marketing.
Did you make it look like the picture though?
Yeah.
All right.
I was very good. Like
I believe it.
Like I'm a very hard worker, and like what's good about me is I started working very young.
Yeah.
So when I was 15, and again, my intention was to not put pressure on my parents so I could buy my own video games. I mean, at the time, Xbox video games were like $60, $45
for each one.
Yeah. So like we went from like PS2, which was like $20 a game. Now I have an Xbox 360. It's like $45, $60.
Yeah.
So I started working, and then after Quiznos, I worked at Domino's.
So what?
Yeah.
I worked at Domino's Pizza.
That's crazy.
I was the actual manager of a store at Domino's Pizza.
So Domino's was probably my most favorite job. And the reason why I say this is because I work with all my friends. Like I loved working the rush, because what it was for me is I'm really good at stretching pizzas. So I used to just sit there and look at the screen as the orders were coming. You're
stretching it and passing it over to somebody to put in the sauce,
cheesy it, and then the top would do it. And that was my jam. And I was just so locked in and focused, and I was really good at it, right? I used to make the perfect pizza, throw the pizza in the air. I used to be able to talk.
You're talking to a guy who would actually challenge you on a pizza throwing challenge. I'm telling you, bro, like you are a lost cousin right now.
Meal, you know, we'll make it happen.
That is nuts.
We used to have competitions for like to make the pizza boxes. Like we would literally sit there and
then
like
hit
drivers,
it and then fold it. And let's go.
And we'd make pizza boxes and stuff like that. So that was a really fun job for me. But what that did was, so I remember one day I was probably like maybe a month and a half into working at Domino's. And this is like, I'm still actually in high school. Okay. I think I'm a senior. And my manager, Faizan, calls me and he says, Ali, the rush is crazy. I need you to come in. And I'm like, and this, mind you, he called my landline. Okay. Like he called my landline. And I'm like, I'm about to go to New Jersey. I can't make it in. And he's like, shoot. He's like, I really need someone. I'm like, well, I could send my older brother. Like he's a smart guy. He'll catch on quick. And he's like, just send him. I need anyone. So my brother went to work. He crushed it that day. Now, mind you, my brother worked with my uncle. My uncle owns a restaurant called Kebab Paradise. He's
still in business?
Yeah, he's still in business. Huge restaurant in Lake Hiawatha. They have multiple locations. And my brother, growing up, used to help them with catering every weekend. So my brother was raised with my uncle and my cousins, who are all savage workers. Okay, all these people, they work from the muscle, everything they've created on their own. So my brother went in with that experience. Faizan really liked him. Next thing you know, my brother makes a relationship with these guys, and then Domino's becomes a thing for our family. We ended up getting into partnership with them and things of that nature. So it turned out to be really good just from that one connection, my brother going into that place. But immediately after Domino's, man, I worked at Subway, bro. I worked at Five Guys.
You did the fast food world tour. Bro, you tried all of them.
And there was times where I was working 3-4 jobs. I remember there was one time in my life where I was working 4 a.m. to like 8 a.m. at a resort in Pennsylvania, and I was making fresh omelets for people at the resort.
No, I know what you mean. So when was the moment that you were like,
I'll tell you right now.
No.
I'll tell you right now. So I was working at a Subway, and the owner had told me, like, we're going to go into business together. So he's like, I'm opening up another location. I want you to be the manager there, but I'm also going to give you a percentage of the store.
Okay.
It's like, all right, cool. So like a month and a half goes by, and the other store starts getting built, but like, he's not telling me anything about it, you know? And I was like, that's really weird. So I asked him, and I'm 20, maybe 21. So I asked him about it, and he's like, yeah, you know, I just had to make another decision, and like, I wanted to move with a more experienced manager, and she's at
while
this
the
other
vision
store.
in your mind and your heart set is like, I'm excited about this.
Yeah, bro. Like I was so all in. I would treat that store like it was my own, like look after the customers. And for me, customer service is huge. And I've always been like, that's always been my forte, just always being kind to people who are going to do business with me at the end of the day. It's just how my family was raised, how I was raised. So something happened in the store. I can't remember what, but he was in the store and he starts flipping out on me like, how could you let this happen? You don't care about anything here. You might as well just stand over here on the make line, take your thing out and piss everywhere. That's literally what he said to me. And I was like, bro, what? Like, how could you say that to me? I sacrificed so much to be here.
So much passion.
Like, you've bamboozled me. And then that's the moment I was like, no, I cannot waste my time. I need to go get a big boy job. Okay. So that was like the trigger that did it for me.
So what's a big boy job?
A job that makes good money, right? That I don't have to deal with. So
you're still not thinking about starting a business. You just were like, I got to do something bigger than this.
I got to do something bigger. So that's when I applied to Dish Network. I'll say the name of the company. I applied to
Dish Network. You're cool.
Yeah, I applied to Dish
the
Network.
Unofficial one day, hopefully sponsor. Wink, wink.
I love it. So I applied to Dish, and I get the interview, and I'm so underqualified for this job. Like, you have no idea. I have no sales experience, no office experience. I've worked fast food my whole life. And I go sit down in the interview, and I see this guy who's interviewing me. He looks very familiar, but I can't put my finger on it. So he looks at my resume. He says, your name is Ali Saleh. He's like, do you have family? Like, and I'm like, yeah. He's like, who's your family? And I'm like, I say my sister's name, my brother's name, my cousin's name. And he's like, start speaking in Farsi, in our language. And I'm like, what? And he's like, I'm Wahid. Like, and I was like, oh, I've heard about you. And he's like, yeah, I know your cousins, your sister. She used to work with me, this, that. He starts speaking in Farsi. And then he's just like, okay, we're going to work together to make sure, like, he's like, I'm going to ask you some questions. You answer to the best of your ability. And then if you pass this, you'll go on to the second interview. And then once you get there, that's all on you. So we go through this interview together. I smash it. I don't know what happened. Like my confidence level just went through the roof. I go to the second interview. I crush it. A week later, I get a phone call. Come do your drug test. You're hired. Bro, it was in that moment where I was like, all right, I need to figure out how to do this thing. So I go to training.
This is sales, right?
Yeah, this is sales. So I go to training the first week. They just teach us how to use the computers, this, that. Then it's time to go on the phones. So I get on the phones. The first day I was on the phones, Ali, I closed 8 sales, which was like, they were making such a big deal about it. Nobody in training has ever done this. And I'm like, maybe I have talent. You know, maybe this is like
so when Neo in the Matrix realizes, like, wait a minute, I got these gifts and I just realized I have them. Yeah.
Bro, it was the weirdest thing ever. So I was like, all right, what do I do? So I went home. I went on Google. This is like 2013. Okay. April 2013.
Okay.
So I pull up my computer and I'm like, how do I sell? Like how to become a better salesperson. And then, bro, I see Zig Ziglar. I see Bob Proctor. I see Earl Nightingale. I see Gary Vee. I see Gary Vee, bro.
Was it the F Monday video?
It was a video of him talking to kids at a university.
Yeah.
In a university,
yeah,
telling kids that college is bullshit.
Yeah.
And I was just like, bro, this is my guy. So I started doing, and then that led me to Grant Cardone, which led me down this whole rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And Uncle G, Tony Robbins. And then, bro, I just immersed myself in understanding emotional quotient, emotional intelligence, and how to next step any situation in life, right? Because that's what sales teaches you. Sales.
I was just gonna say, can I just make an observation to everybody that is listening? My advice to anybody who's like, hey, I want to become an entrepreneur, if you're transitioning from a job, start with a sales job. Sales will absolutely teach you everything, at least mentally, what it would take for you to have the resilience to make it through entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is a lot more than just sales. But man, sales will teach you a lot about you
100%.
In the areas that you need to work on. So kudos to you for taking that path. So when did then the transition go from Dish Network to network marketing? Or I know you had a transportation business as well.
Yeah. So here's what ended up happening. About 2 weeks into Dish, I made a decision because I saw the power of writing your own paycheck. I made a decision that I was going to become a millionaire. That's where it started. That's where it manifested in 2013. I remember
takes some cojones to make that decision. Like what?
I can't tell you what it was.
Do you have any millionaires in the family prior to you?
Yeah.
And
at that time, not really.
No, but I'm saying, like, was there in your circle somebody that you looked at and you said, I want to be Uncle, Mehdi? Like in my case, Uncle Sammy, was the most successful one. And I was like, I want to be like Uncle Sammy. So
at that time, everybody in my community was making their come up. They were doing great and they were owning transportation businesses. And my uncle had the restaurant. But in 2013, none of them were millionaires.
So you were bold enough to yourself. Did you say it out loud or you just made an internal decision?
I made a decision. And then I remember speaking to some of my friends and telling them, like, I want to become a millionaire. I've made a decision. Right? Like, I want to become a millionaire.
The reaction was, we support you and love you and we got your back and whatever you need. Just answer.
How are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? Right? Like I had a decent group back then, like all innocent people, but they just didn't understand the concept of how I was going to do it. Because again, so many people, we live the cyclical cycle of paycheck to paycheck and we hear our families arguing about money. But the one thing I will say that I think helped me get to this point, my father was always an abundant man. So were my uncles, my whole family, bro. Like they take pride in putting their hands in their pocket and paying for things.
That's I think that comes from our background too.
Culturally, like that's just how it is. You have no shame in your money. Your relationship with money is, I'm making it to make my family's life better. My dad never told us no, ever.
Even if probably many times it was a struggle to say
it was an extreme struggle for him, but he never told us no. He always told us it's possible. So I think because I had the fabric of my uncle being an entrepreneur, and all my uncles have struggled, each and every single one of them, to build their life in America. They've all had to go through so many struggles, my aunts on both sides of my family. And so I guess seeing that taught us all how to be like resilient people. So now here, to answer your question specifically, from 2013 to about 2018, I remained in sales. Okay. I did very, very well, always top 1%, crushed it, made a lot of money, enjoyed all the companies I worked at, had incredible experiences. What happened though, in 2014, someone reached out to me about a company that doesn't exist anymore called Wake Up Now. Okay.
Yeah, familiar.
It was a membership services business. And the guy explained the comp plan to me. I hopped on a few opportunity calls. I captured the vision right away. Within like 4 weeks, I built a team of 500 people. And I remember 3 weeks into it, because back then, you remember you used to do training calls. You'd call in on your phone and you listen to
free
the training.
conference callings and all that stuff.
All that stuff. So it was a conference call. And when you get on, it says there are 6,875, listeners. So I get on this conference call, and my upline, shout out Darren Fryer at the time, calls me, and he's like, yo, we want you to do the training tonight. And I was like, what? He's like,
I remember that first one.
You killed it. He's like, I want you to do the training tonight. I was like, cool, I'm down. I call my mom, my dad, my cousins. Everybody.
You guys gotta listen. We made it.
Gotta hop in. I made it. So I get on this training call, bro, and I smashed it out. Because, bro, I was on 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, bro. I have not been able to recreate that energy that I felt inside me since then.
But I think if I were to do an evaluation, looking back at everything that you just shared with us, it was the culmination of the experiences that you had with the Quiznos and the Subways and all that different things, and then your investment in your time in the Zigs and the Gary Vee and the Tony Robbins and all that stuff, all built up for a celebratory moment, which gave you the, man, we're making it right now, with all that knowledge that has led you to where 100%. You've arrived, and then bringing that both together. I can only imagine, man. That was a call for the ages.
100%.
Like, where was the camera back then?
Dude, listen, man. I remember at the time, bro, I bought a GoPro. I went vegan. I was like literally
changed,
bro, everything, man. And I was so on it. And I do this training call. My dad calls me after. He's like, son, you're made for this. I'm so proud of you. And I was like, I'm gonna save my family. That's literally what I told myself. 2 weeks later, the company disappears. Okay.
Yeah. We know a thing or two about that.
Yeah. So what happens after that is I tell myself, I can't put myself through that again.
Yeah.
Like feeling that feeling of like, this is the one, like you can't sleep at night because you're so, I just can't put it into words. Anybody who's felt that knows what I'm talking about. And that happened. It broke my heart. So I said, you know what?
Like the worst breakup times 10.
100%.
I remember a company called North American Power, January 6th. No pun intended with that date. It's a weird one. January 6th, 2015. Dude, they just had me on stage announcing the new brand. And by the way, it's a $400 million company, and I have 68% of the downline in my organization.
Damn.
Like, I mean, now we were eating, right? And that was the first time I experienced outside traditional business financial freedom.
Oh my days.
My God, I'm working for myself and traveling the world, making all this money. And then it was an ugly, those ugly posts, like no colors, no image, just a black on white, big words because it's like few characters. Thank you for your service. North American Power no longer has the network.
Oh my days.
I'm like, but I was the face. They had me on stage. I wasn't out, bro. And that song, Sugar by what's his name?
Baby Bash?
No. Sugar. Yes, please.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That song that just came out. The first part of that song, I'm hurting, baby. I'm like, when I say every time that song still comes out right now, because as I'm reading that song, I'm listening to it for the first, dude, it was like a horrible breakup. My wife had like to get me emotionally out, and I know that pain. It sucks,
bro. And I definitely want to talk about the effects of these things. Like, make sure we talk about this. It's so important to highlight this.
What? Yeah, the executive producer said we got some digging to do. Yeah, we're gonna go into that a little bit more. But so from that moment, and the company, is disappeared. So you had a little bit of a fork on the road. I go back to what I've done before, or I double down and I go to something bigger and better, because everybody that loves me, including my role model, my father, says to me, you were made for this.
Right.
So what did you do at that moment?
I was very weak-minded back then. I was a serial quitter. Okay. Like, I talk about this all the time.
Never heard that before.
When things would get tough with me, I would go to my parents, I'll create the story, as to why this won't work for me, whether it's a job, an opportunity.
You'll justify
I gotta justify
your
it.
next
And then my parents
action.
would look at me and be like, all right, like, that's not going to work. Whatever, go do what you got to do. So I was a serial quitter and I was very weak-minded. So when that happened, I didn't look to double down. I looked to protect myself.
Yeah.
And I did.
Where's the safety net? Let me revert. Where's the warm blankie?
Yeah. And that was my sales job. That was paying me, you know, $2-3K a week. It's great money. I'm 24 years old. So I just focused on that. I bought a house in Arizona. I rented it out. I just focused on saving money, making money, and still continue with my personal development.
Looking back, you did do the right thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that was by means of the world. That was pretty responsible. I don't think that was weak-minded.
I mean, well, here's what I will say. It's weak-minded because I deviated from a goal that I made for
from
myself.
Your dream. I get it.
My dream.
Yeah.
But because here's the thing. If I would have doubled down and gone all in at that time, like, look what came out of Wake Up Now, right? Like, you had the whole Vima explosion, and you had everything happen with like wealth generators, and then you had the formation of IM, right? And I was offered to go to IM and very, very early. And again, had I capitalized on that, because it was the right people that were talking to me about coming in, things would have been completely different in that regard. But again, just because I was going through what I was going through, I was like, nah, I don't want to deal with this, which I don't regret at all. I'm actually very grateful.
I think you made the right moves, to be honest with you, because if you're not, I believe if you're not emotionally 100% where you need to be to go all in with something, I think it's like trading, right? Like, emotions are definitely, it could make a big mistake if you're trading with the wrong emotions. So I think in business, the same thing.
Energetically, it has to align with you. But to answer your question, I just focused on sales. Like, I focused on sales. I started getting some really top quality sales jobs, started getting some really high quality sales roles. I started perfecting my craft. And I just started building a lot of deep connections in Arizona with the sales world. I built a huge network.
So the vehicle changed, but the driver remained focused on his path. All right.
And I remember specifically what brought me to feeling inspired to actually quit my corporate America life. I remember I was talking to a client who was looking to get capital. And I remember asking this guy, his name was John. I was like, dude, why are you looking to get capital? You know, just probing questions. And he just explained to me that he invests a lot in crypto and he likes to use other people's money to do so. I was like, what's crypto? And he talks to me about Bitcoin. I'm like, bro, I've heard about this before, but I don't know anything about it. He's like, listen, take my cell phone number down. When you're out of work, give me a call. I was like, okay. I left work. First thing I did, ran down to the car park, went to my car. It was like a beautiful day in Arizona. It wasn't hot yet. It was like March, really nice weather. February, March is like the best time in AZ. Sit in my car, roll down the window, call this guy. And I'm like, hey, it's Ali we spoke earlier today. And he's like, Ali, from now on, you don't call me John. You call me the White Rabbit. And he's like, I'm going to send you 3 videos. You watch these 3 videos. You call me when you're done, so I know you're serious. And I was like, okay. It was like literally less than a minute. Sends me the 3 videos. I go home, I watch them. It was Roger Ver talking about how fiat currency is going to fail. It was a video about blockchain technology and how the future of blockchain,
early before anybody even knew what the term blockchain even meant.
And so I'm like watching all this stuff. Literally took me less than 24 hours to watch this stuff. I contacted him. We get on a Zoom, on a Skype. Okay, Skype. And he teaches me how to buy my first Bitcoin. And then he teaches me more and more and more. And then I invested in my first ICO, which was Tezos, which was the largest ICO at the time, $238 million, largest ICO of its time. And then I realized something in that moment. I said, this is incredible. So what I focused on was I built a organic community. It just happened organically. There was no intention behind it, no monthly subscription, nothing. It was just, I wanted to make money with people I knew. And all of a sudden, we're just at work making thousands of dollars a day in a week, investing in crypto. And then what ended up happening was this guy, John, showed me something called BitConnect. And I just invested in myself as a passive income opportunity. And after like 60 days, this thing was paying me like 1%, 1.5%, 2% a day. And I'm like, yo, this is legit. So I call my dad and I'm like, Dad, like this is something I put like 10K in and it's doing this for me. And my dad was like, just invest like 5 for us. I was like, okay, cool. So I created an account for my dad, put 5 in for him. One of my coworkers comes up to me and say, hey, outside of these ICOs and all this stuff, how else are you making money with crypto? I say, BitConnect. So people start putting money in BitConnect, and BitConnect turned out to be like a complete sham, right? It was like,
no way, Ali Saleh. I did not know that was going to be the end of that part of the story.
So, but here's what happened though. Here's what happened. Every single one of us who was part of that whole BitConnect thing, we're all still invested in crypto.
Of course.
Every single person. But we got smart. So here's what happened. The reason why I bring this up is because when that thing happened, my mindset was crypto is the future.
Yeah.
Education is king.
Uh-huh.
See, crypto is the future, but education is king. So I just started focusing on education for me. And then, you know, in 2018, after doing really well in crypto, after seeing the Forex space, after seeing everything you could do online, after seeing affiliate marketing, after seeing all the success that I was able to create, the projects I've worked on, like now people are inviting me to come and be consultants for their projects, their blockchain projects.
There's a little bit more clarity.
Yeah, there's more clarity. I'm understanding the back end. I see the future. I'm like, cool. I don't need to work anymore. I've replaced my income and I don't need to do this anymore. So 2018, I walked into my boss's office and I fired my job. I said, peace out.
I'm out.
And what solidified it for me, because again, I had incredible relationships with management, the entire office, everything. And mind you, I am killing it. I'm doing amazing. The moment I tell him I'm out, I'll put in my 2 weeks notice. I get up to leave the office. He's like, wait, actually sit down. He's like, so we have a protocol whenever this happens. I need you to take your badge, put it on the desk, and I'm going to call security to walk you out. I said, what? So I just put in my 2 weeks notice. I want to work the next 2 weeks. He's like, that's not how it works. It's like when you put in your 2 weeks notice, you immediately become a liability to the company. You could say whatever you want to our clients. Like your loyalty isn't here. So bro, that further solidified my decision because I realized even more so that I'm just a number here. Right. We hear that all the time.
Dedicated so much of my time and dedication. And just because I decided to do something for me, you're going to treat me like a towel on the corner thrown on the floor.
Just a number.
That is deep. Let's do this. We're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
After we come back, we're going to dig a little bit more into what would you change if you had a magic wand in the world of network marketing, trading, and let's educate people on some of the things that we've learned from network marketing, from our own experiences. I think it's going to be a conversation that a lot of people are going to want to check out.
Yes.
We'll be right back.
Thank
A world of knowledge is right at your fingertips. Beyond our signature Great Discovery course, we offer a treasure trove of impactful learning courses across a multitude of subjects. Elevate your success with courses crafted by global experts. Accessible in 140+ countries with real-time translations in most languages. Enjoy an affordable monthly membership. Get unlimited course access and have exclusive discounts. Embrace opportunities. Earn as you learn with our affiliate program. Be part of our vibrant community. Learn, share, teach, or do it all. Unleash your true potential today. It's all about you. Escape no on dich. Es todo acerca de ti. 都是关于你的. Es tout sur de tête. Il n'est question que de toi. Welcome to the Great Discovery.
Welcome back with Ali Saleh at the ME Studios, the ME show with your strategic partner, Ali Madawi. So this is like that AA episode today. So we talked a whole lot about Ali Saleh's background and who made him or what made him who he's become today. So I'm going to just kind of fast forward to now, and more specifically, 2023 was an interesting year but first of all, from 22, it was interesting for me. I'll tell you a little bit. We had a company that we put together called the Young Entrepreneur Project, and it had multiple subsidiaries. It was travel vertical. It was a business development vertical. And then we added a trading vertical, brought a brand and a company many of you may have heard of called Driven, essentially became its own company. And then it ended up being sold to IX Global. IX Global was under the FTC scrutiny, was claimed a $43 million Ponzi scheme. Now the FTC just announced that, hey, you can go back in business, IX Global. Yeah. Like, nope, we don't have enough evidence. You can go back in business. I'm not sure what that's about, but I'm sure we're going to get some news and updates on that. Yeah, it's we broke news on that a few days ago. Was it 4 days ago, Rich, when we broke news on IX? And a lot came out from the dismantlement of Driven, and a lot of people that came through and hurt, and SEC's calling and, you know, putting y'all on notice. But the point that I'm trying to get at is I believe there are other companies that are going to be under scrutiny. And I know this for a fact because I've left and resigned from Driven, that I was working with them, to go to another company. And I resigned from that company after a whole lot of shenanigans that I don't think it was aligned with my core values. I'm not saying that the company was doing anything illegal or not bashing for those who are going to be like, how dare you, Ali? I'm just saying I left because it wasn't in alignment with my core values and how I operate in business. And a couple of months later, you are no longer a part of the company. And we're not going to get into the details because it is no surprise. There's a public dispute that is between you and that company. And again, because of legalities and things that are going on, I'm not going to dig into that. But what I want to dig into is, based on your experience, your knowledge, your consultant, and your personal hits that you've taken from different companies, first of all, what do you think needs to happen in order for the shenanigans? Because a lot of people get hurt along the way. I don't care what anybody says. I've seen so many people that have gotten hurt, like just from the Young Entrepreneur Project to the Driven transition. I know personally people who have taken their 401ks, putting it on an MT4 and trusting somebody just because they said, hey, I got a Rolex and I got a nice car that was leased or rented or whatever the case may be. So what is our responsibility as leaders, as trainers, as entrepreneurs to make sure that this BS doesn't happen? Many people think that I'm bitter about this whole thing. And like, you know, Ali keeps poking at us and talking about the SEC and FTC. Like, I don't give a damn. If somebody is robbing a bank and you get questioned as hey, you were in that bank, and you say, yeah, that's the guy who robbed the bank, should they be mad at you? No. Like, bro, you robbed the bank. That's on you. So what is our responsibility? What can we do? What should we do? What do you think needs to happen in order for these horrible experiences to stop hurting people?
So, Ali, you said a whole heck of a lot there, and I think it's a lot to unpack, and I think it's something that definitely needs to be addressed. First of all, I will answer your question after I address what you just said about the bank robber and saying, hey, that's the guy who's the bank robber. We live in a world where truth is suppressed because there are evildoers who need the truth to be hidden in order for them to complete their agenda. And that's just not in network marketing. That's in the world as a whole.
That's the ugly side of humanity.
Exactly.
Yep.
And it's been like this since the beginning of the time. Truth seekers and truth tellers have been defamed, have been tarnished, have been destroyed, have even been killed over history. Look at some of the Stoics that we so revere today. What life did Aristotle live? What life did Hercules live? What life? Look at these artists who didn't get fame until after they perished and they were removed from this earth. And it's really deep to think about it. And it's why people subconsciously, it's like an innate DNA inside people that if you speak against injustice, you are considered a hero. Like, just let that sink in for a second. When you like,
it's like such a GED thing. Hey, that's a bad thing. You want to talk against it? Yes, you're a hero.
Like, what? How is this a thing? Right. So, yeah. and we could unpack that later, but I just wanted to make that very clear that, you know, it's taboo to tell the truth. It's taboo to tell the truth. It's like, you know, if somebody's, it's just taboo to tell the truth, right? Now, what do we need to do as leaders to prevent these types of things from happening in the industry? Number one, you need to stop being so green. You need to stop looking at things from a perspective of like, oh, this opportunity is going to help me make X, Y, and Z. And the reason why I say that is because when we're green, we see only the good things in that particular situation. Whether if you're talking to a girl or a guy, if you're assessing who your future wife or husband is going to be, if you are not asking the tough questions, you're not going to uncover the things that are actually going to help you make the decision that, oh, this is the person who I want to spend the rest of my life with, or this is the company that I want to do business with, or Ali is the guy who I want to partner with, right? Or me. You have to ask the tough questions. So we can't be so green. We can't just be so like wet behind the ears like a baby and just assume that because this guy is opening his mouth and talking that we got to take what's there. So I've made myself a rule set. So I have a rules-based approach now to doing business with people. And the components of my rules are two things. Number one, there's two C's. I need you to be consistent. I need consistency. I need to look at your track record and see what's happened in the last 5 years. Now, if you've bounced around or you've had failed opportunities, it's not a no for me. I just want to ask why and then ask you documentation as to why those things worked or didn't work. That's number one. Competency. I need you to be competent. I need you to be able to get on a Zoom call with me, show me your merchants. I need you to get on a Zoom call with me, show me your trading algorithm, show me your educators. Let me speak to them. Let me talk to your corporate team. Let me ask the questions that I need to ask before I make my decision. Because here's what happens. When you promote an opportunity, how people are negatively or positively affected is your responsibility. Like if I'm in an opportunity and all of a sudden you make $10,000 or you have a better experience or the service is amazing, I'm going to go on social media and be like, wow, I just brought in this guy, Ali Madawi, and you won't believe in his first 48 hours, he did X, Y, Z. And I'm going to use that success story to go create more success stories.
Build your credibility.
Yeah, build my credibility and help my business grow. But what happens if Ali Madawi loses $5,000?
Hush, hush.
Right. And the thing is, so we want to claim responsibility on things that are good, but we don't want to claim responsibility on things that are bad. We put it on the company, we put it on this, we put it on that. But listen, I'm promoting this brand. So my whole thought process after 2023 is whatever I represent is me.
100%.
And that's why I haven't done anything. That's why my Instagram is here and not some company I'm promoting or because I don't feel comfortable locking arms with anything, because of all of the BS that's in the industry. And you have owners who were maybe at one time good marketers, but they have no clue how to run a business. And I've had this conversation with multiple CEOs saying, look, you need to create an environment where you build a team around you so that you could work on your business instead of in your business.
Correct.
I don't need you to close clients for me. What I need you to do
run the company.
Yep. Make sure, like if I call you and you're the owner of a company, I call you and I say, hey, Ali, how much? I'm allowed to ask this question. I'm a distributor in your company or I'm a partner here, whatever. Exactly, without you looking, how much is hitting the merchant account tomorrow? If you can't tell me how much the merchant is depositing in the bank account, you're not a good CEO. You have to know all the moving parts of your business in order for you to be able to really run a tight ship with a company. And until you watching this and me and other people who are in this industry, if we're not willing to ask these tough questions, we're never going to find the right opportunity.
So is it the chicken or is it the egg? Is it the fact that the network marketing, specifically in the trading space, not tough enough, not regulated enough, not overseen enough? Or is it, the naivete of the masses that's just like, yeah, let's wear the t-shirt and say it's a great opportunity? Like where is the root cause of having these individuals in the wrong chairs? And how are we going sometimes for years without fact checking them or having some kind of, checks and balances to hold them accountable?
Solid question, bro. I'm very anti-regulation. I think that, America was founded on less government. And, that's why states make their decisions. Sure. And even in the Vladimir Putin and
I haven't watched it. Yeah, I saw you were like, the days we live in today.
Crazy. What a time to be alive, right? But Tucker Carlson and Vladimir Putin even talked about how intricate and advanced the whole dichotomy is of the US. You have the federal government, and then you have the states. So I'm not a big regulation guy. I think that if somebody is gonna, do something and fall off a bridge, I don't think the government should prevent them from doing that, right? I know that might sound harsh,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like there has to be a level of accountability, and there has to be a level where people should have free will. Like, just case in point.
That's really what makes America, for me at least. When I came to that, I was like, this is crazy. So you can do whatever you want, believe whatever you want, and build whatever business that you want, obviously with certain extents, certain moralities. But you're right. It is that ability to not have somebody with their foot on my throat, that I can create something that I genuinely believe in and impact the world
100%.
with. Yeah.
100%. And anti-regulation for those particular reasons. What I think needs to happen for the industry to get better is, like, look at the network marketing industry. It does about $200 billion in a year, right? That's documented. Okay. We don't know about all the other stuff that goes on, but about $200 billion. It's bigger than sports. It's a huge industry. You have the ability of taking someone who has zero business acumen, put them in a position to make money, right? Anybody can make money. People who create wealth are a different level, right? Like Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Tim Ferriss, Joe Rogan, Tony Robbins, right? Like, the list goes on and on and on. It's a different level. It's a different echelon. So when you have an environment where anybody could just come off the street, pay $200, $100, $1,500 and own a business, and that person starts to make money, this person hasn't gone through the trials and tribulations of entrepreneurship to understand what it's like to run a business.
Yep.
So I think the issue isn't a regulatory issue. I think it's the fact that the industry just allows people to come up. Now, look, and I'll make a case here. If we look at, the music industry, someone who's really talented could step into the music industry and go blow up, right? But who controls them? It's the label, or the managers, whatever. And most of the time, they don't even own their wealth.
Yeah.
It's all loans that they have to end up paying back, and they pay it back through record sales. So it kind of keeps them on a chain. So I think what fixes the industry is education. Again, like I told you in the first part of our segment, that education is king. So people need to be educated on what's a good opportunity, what's not a good opportunity. Who does that? That's up to leadership. That's up to us. That's up to me. That's up to you. That's up to the people who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in this industry. Okay. All the people who are recognized on BFH and all those people who are on the top income earner list, like, figure it out. We can't have people, okay, who are educating the masses at scale, promoting things like Trader's Domain. That's what we can't have. We can't have the biggest names in the industry, right, running side projects where people are making risky investments, because all that's sending down to the people in their inner circle is that we just got to figure out a way to make more money. So from the top level, as a leader, and I've always been like this in network marketing or affiliate marketing, I've always been, what can I do to make sure that the last person who's in the tree has the ability to recreate what I've done or recreate some success, right? Because I just want to help people make an extra $500 to $1,000 a month. I want people to understand that by 2030, 50% of the world's jobs will be eliminated. Mm-hmm. Everything will be automated. What are you going to do then? So yeah, 5 years ago, a side hustle was an opportunity. Today, it's a necessity. So we have to understand our responsibility. So in terms of regulation, I don't think the industry needs to be regulated any further. What I think needs to happen is, if I become a lawyer, I have to go and then I make an oath. Part of my oath is as an insurance agent, as a lawyer, as a real estate agent, as anybody touching people's finances or giving financial advice, I make an oath that I have a fiduciary. If you don't know what fiduciary means, Google it, right? Fiduciary responsibility to this client.
But to a certain extent, that is already in place. In other words, there's just things that you can go around. Let's say, like again, one of the people that I've dealt with is under scrutiny right now because he used a network marketing company for credibility, and then reaches out to let's say if you were a top earner in that company, like, hey man, let me manage your money for you. Let's do a side agreement, and then he'll blow your money, like completely burn it out, like $2 million just about burnt out. And then the 3-letter agencies reaches out, does a whole evaluation and investigation, and like, no, they just hired me as a 1099 advisor to tell them what I'm doing with my own money. I didn't manage their money for them, and he's getting away with it. So I feel like the whole system is not set up or not in alignment to protect the little guy, which makes your role and my role even bigger and more important to say, hey, like I'm gonna amplify the fact that we need to do better as leaders. Disclaimers. I mean, me and you go to social media every single day to any
wild west.
It is nuts. Everybody's like, I made $1 million less than 22 years old. Okay. How? Context. Where did you fail?
Documentation, please.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of that takes place. There's a lot of Instagram model like videos that are going up, and then the next 3 stories are like, candlesticks and look at me making this much. Like, the truth of the matter is there is so much that goes from behind the scene that is not exposed, and it makes, again, the naivete oxygen where everybody's like, I think I can do what Ali has done. But it is important. We talked about this on the last episode when we had another gentleman in here. In 2023, we lost $150,000 in our business.
Oh yeah.
We are proud of the fact that we are calling it out loud, because we too fail. We too have bad business deals. We too have wrongdoings. We too have IRS issues. We've made mistakes, right? But that's important to educate. So if I'm doing business with you, hey, I'm going to show you all the mistakes that I've done so you don't have to do it.
Right.
That does not happen in the MLM/trading space, where it's all about Bitcoin is about to hit $50,000. Yeah, but you didn't talk about it when it crashed to 3,600 years ago.
Right. Or when it hit 16K just a couple months ago.
Like, why are we so, and is it because social media allows everybody to have a voice? So I know it's a complex, it's not like an overnight fix, but I think we have a responsibility to call it for what it is. There is a real problem in network marketing where one person has a lot of influence and a lot of heavy weight that can tell the world, don't worry, trust me, we're all going to be successful.
Right. Like, and I've heard these owners talk about compliance, and they're like, oh, we're going to wait until we have X amount of people in the company before we start enforcing compliance, because we need the momentum to come. So let people.
The 3-letter agency, they're not going to come after us. It's too early.
We're not big yet. Like, we have nothing to give them.
But by then, the culture is already established in your company to do certain things with a certain behavior.
And there's nothing you're going to be able to do to stop that. And I think the other issue that we also run into in this whole gambit is what I said in the beginning. Leaders are too green. We just believe what people say, and talk is cheap. It's like, put your money where your mouth is. Show me these things. Like, I've been meeting with a lot of CEOs over the last 8 months, and I've had a few where I've asked the tough questions to, and they've been able to answer them. And they've gotten on Zooms with me. They've shared their screen. They've showed me their merchants. They've showed me their reserve accounts. They've shown me everything. Do they have to do that? No, but they have literally nothing. They're like, look, I'm a nerd. I'm an MBA grad. I don't understand your world. I get this world.
Yeah.
So let me show you what you need in order for you to be semi-comfortable to lock on.
In reality, in business in general, if I was offering you, hey, I want you to come in as a part owner of my business, you're probably going to say, well, show me your book of business and show me.
Yeah,
right? That's
100%.
just, most people don't understand business. And it goes back to some people who did well in network marketing as a representative. It doesn't automatically qualify you as an entrepreneur.
Correct. Especially because people who do well in the field, and this isn't everybody. Look, I love the network marketing industry. I love affiliate marketing. I love the leadership. I love the success stories. I love seeing people go from zero to hero. It's incredible.
That's
amazing.
What we love about it.
Exactly. And I love to see people inherently change their lives and change the trajectory of like their children's future. And there's nothing better than that, right? Whether you do it through network marketing, solar sales, whatever, I don't care, as long as you do it, right? But the main issue is there's people in the field are toxic. Like people are looking for ways to one-up you. They want to discredit you. People care about recognition. And the thing about recognition is, if you live and die by recognition,
dopamine, baby,
it's the worst thing in the world. Like it just shows that your ego needs to be fed. And that means if you care what people think about you in a good light, you won't be able to stand what people say about you in the bad light. And it's those people who can't stand the negative conversations about them that end up being the evil villains and the bad doers in the space.
Or controlled by everybody else who
100%.
knows how I can move you up and down, emotionally speaking.
It's crazy, bro. So for me, I think, to answer your question directly, I don't think there needs to be more regulation because the laws are already in place. People know what to do and what not to do. What needs to happen is people need to be smart, document everything, so that when it gets to a point, if they have to file a complaint, they can file a detailed complaint. That's a smoking gun, right? Because we know these 3-letter agencies investigate until they have 90% proof. They're only going to come to you once they know they have a conviction.
Let me just put it out there and put everybody on notice. Just for those of you who don't take behind MLM or business from home, or so just the 3-letter agencies, and I'm telling you firsthand, this is literally what happens. It starts, everybody's, oh, I don't take behind MLM seriously just because it's a blog. Sure. But it is the very, very first place where they go like, let's go see what's new and fresh. Yeah. What's hot. And when they see a company, okay, this company came up a couple of times, it's a big name, let's look into it. And then the inquiries start to happen. And if there's validity that the company is doing something bad, reviews, posts without disclaimers and so on and so forth, it turns out to be ugly. You mentioned one thing earlier about asking the hard questions. When we do come back, I'm gonna take a quick break. I have some hard questions for you to ask. I am as crystal and transparent as it gets, and I know so you are, but I have some questions that I think I want to give you an opportunity to address from a business perspective, and I'll prep you for it before we go on a break. Is some people may think that you have a vendetta. You're just bitter and you want to take a company or companies down. I'm going to give you an opportunity to answer that when we come back from the break, and also about certain social stands from social justice that you have, and allow you the opportunity to educate the uneducated as to why you feel the way you feel about certain things. Awesome. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back. Ali Madawi here with Ali Saleh in an exclusive. It's been a long time coming for this on the ME show. So let's dig in a little bit. Before the break, I said I'm going to ask you some challenging questions that I think are fair to ask. I'm not attacking your character or your belief system, but I think it's important for you to have an opportunity to address. I'm not going to dig. There's a public case that you have with a company that people can look it up on their own. But from many individuals, the perception may be he's just petty. He's just angry. He's just, in a vendetta. He just wants to say whatever just to, make a company or individuals look bad. You and I have mutual friends in that company. And I know for a fact I still talk to them and interact with them. I want nothing but love for them and greatness and multitudes of success. And I'm smart enough to believe that you have the same exact mindset. But I want to give you an opportunity to address not the why or the how or the intricacies of the legal side of things, but where are you mentally, and where do we go from here? Like what can you tell us about that whole situation if you can't say anything at all?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's definitely not an easy thing to talk about. Is it something I think about every day? Not anymore. Is it something I thought about every day for a long time? Oh, absolutely. I'll say this, right? If this happened, if what happened to me happened to 95% of the world, the outcome would have been completely different.
In what sense?
In the sense that um, most people would have taken more action. I made a conscious effort to just move on. And you know, sometimes when people see me posting certain things on social media about the situation or around situations like it, it's because people are sending me screenshots and information and voice notes of these people continuing to talk about it months later.
In other words, still trying to go after your credibility,
defaming me, going after my credibility, saying,
why do you think that you moved on, the company's doing whatever they're doing? Why do you think there's still a sense of necessity? I still got to talk bad about him, because I know at one point there were people who were told, don't even comment on a post of his, and
yeah, people got suspended because they commented on my post. And like people had to block me and unfriend me, and people who've left the company
to protect their income, essentially.
Right. People who've come to me like after they've left the company, like randomly, I get a message from them and they're like, can I please talk to you? I'm so sorry about the way things went down. Like, we were told all these things, we had to block you, whatever. And what I'm saying, what I want to say is, if it was anybody else, they would have handled things very, very different.
Go a lot heavier, trying to destroy the credibility of the company.
I've talked to some people about the situation, and they've told me things like, if it happened to me, I would have been a violent situation. If it would have happened to me, I would have publicly.
So you're saying it was really, really.
Yeah. And I look, like I'm not the type of person to ever tear down to build myself up. I've never done it. And I've had plenty of opportunities in the industry to do it. I'm just confident in my skill sets that I can go build a new network from zero. Like, I'm sorry, I can. You could put me out on the street, as long as I got me and my brain, I'm going to make it happen. It doesn't matter, right? I don't need to coerce people to join me into anything. My skill sets speak for themselves. And the business that I'm doing behind the scenes right now, and the other stuff that I'm working on right now, are a testament to me as just a human being, and how I do business, and how people respect me in the space. And when it comes to trading, when it comes to network marketing, affiliate marketing, online, so all of it, right? But I think I didn't do enough, right? Like, I'm being serious. Like, the day that all this went down, I resigned so eloquently, and I told them I'm going to walk away scot-free. Like, I'm not going to tell the story, right? And then I just start getting hit with cease and desist letters, and I'm hearing all this stuff. And ultimately, that's what kind of escalated the situation. But I was happy to just walk away and chalk it up as a loss, and whatever. It is what it is. And I knew there was going to be some pushback from them, and the people who needed to protect their checks and create a narrative to, you know, keep people on the hamster wheel. That is whatever it is that they're doing. And ultimately, you know, I was thinking about it a lot, and it affected me. I was definitely in a tough place. And it wasn't even about the money. It was more so about the way it went down. And it was more so about how, you know,
it went back to the Subway situation. You built and gave it all your passion, all your heart. And then you're like, hey, you ain't gonna be that guy.
And you know what? It's not even so much about being that guy. It's more so about the level of respect. Like, look, there's an art to war. And there's certain ways you do things.
It's a whole book on it.
You know what I mean? It's a great book to read. And if you haven't read it, you probably should. And again, this goes back to CEOs not being prepared for what they're doing. If there is a dispute, right? If there is a financial situation in the company, just sit down as men and have a real conversation about it. And let's talk solutions, right? And the problem is, you know, it was a witch hunt. Like, literally, it was a total witch hunt.
So you can tell me I'd rather not open it up. But if I'm going to ask you a question, and if it's not appropriate, just say, hey, we really shouldn't talk about it because of legal reasons. So why would a company go the route that it went down with someone? Because when I came through, like, let me give you some context, right? When I came through and I met you for the very first time when we had the tour in Europe, the image that I was given to me, that you were this horrible human being that didn't care about anybody in the downline, who was, you know, given a specific deal, making a whole lot of money without deserving it or earning it. And you had a whole image on this guy, Ali, and all of a sudden we're like, you're a cool guy. You're a cool guy.
And I had a negative image of you too.
No, that's what I'm saying, right? There was a little bit of controlled narrative from the outside forces. And the best thing that's ever happened is me and you being in the same room, where I was like, something is off. This is a good guy. So how does, or what would motivate a company to remove a guy that I believe was doing the right thing? You even took your own money in many cases and put it right back into the field, or put it right back into events and many other areas. So help me understand, if there's a way that you can help us understand, how does a company turn on their own the way that you feel it was turned against you?
So I want to be very clear. Like, I want to have a lot of ambiguity when I speak, and not for anything legal, but like when it's time for the story, if it ever presents itself, I want it to be presented with facts. I don't want to just come on here and talk. Like, I don't want to just come here and just say words. Again, I just sat here and talked about people who just talk and have no proof. If the time ever presents itself, or if it's a necessity to discuss detail, like, I would love to be able to give fact-based and evidence-based.
Makes sense.
I'm not prepared for any of that stuff right now, because again, like I said, my intention is never to tear someone down.
He can be a great politician. I'll tell you that. That was a lobbyist politician answer. He goes like, you know, that's a great question, but let me tell you what we should focus on.
No. But I want to answer your question.
Please do. All right, here we go.
Because I just don't want people to get things misconstrued. Like, I came
This
on.
is not emotion talking.
Right,
you want to give the hard facts.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because I'm at a point where I've come to peace with whatever decision they've had to make. And it's just at a point now, but I want to answer your question. So your question is, what would constitute or justify or create the environment where a company would do whatever they did?
Assuming the guy that I know and I saw, and then all of a sudden you're the evildoer. It's like your back has number 666 on it for the company.
I tell you what, nothing justifies that. Nothing on God's green earth justifies what went down.
Besides
nothing. There's no justification, bro, at all, in any capacity.
So a company just wakes up and says, if
I was an owner of a company, I would never move like that, ever. Okay. And 99.9% of owners would never move like that. They just wouldn't, bro, because you don't create an environment where you ostracize a guy who was the first distributor in the company, who sat there for 18 plus months, who fought through,
took a lot of bullets from what I understand.
Yeah. I mean, going through people who are like, oh, I don't want to work with that guy. He's got a bad reputation. He's done this to this person. I can't believe you're working with him, and this and that and all these crazy things. But it's like, bro, trust me, all those things about him aren't true. I've worked with this guy. There's two sides to every story. That was my stance, right? And I still believe that, right? I still believe that I have my side and they have theirs, right? It doesn't matter. The truth is somewhere in between, right?
It's usually his side, her side, and then the truth.
The truth, right? And again, that's why I said, if I do speak in detail, I want to have evidence. So, but to answer your question, again, there's no justification. Like, there is no way that an owner could ever take something and use that to placate a situation and to create an environment where something happens, to create an environment for someone else to come in and to change and transform potentially like the trajectory of whatever they're working on. There's ways you go about this. There's adjustments that can be made. There's real business conversations that can happen to kind of, you know, permeate through whatever hardship that's happening to prevent, you know, someone's livelihood or potentially your own livelihood from being affected. Because if I was a bad guy, or if I was like 80% of the other people in the industry, bro, it would have been completely different, right? I put a lot of my faith in God, and I believe that karma is very real. And I believe that, you know, I listened to, you know, the Prophet of Islam, peace be upon him, and his companions and the Prophet's family and their teachings and what they've taught about injustice and all of these things. And the Prophet's family went through so much injustice, and, you know, years after he died, and so did the companions. And you read these stories and you look at how these individuals dealt with this type of injustice and the defamation and being talked down upon and all these things, and you see how they handled it with grace, who am I, right? Look at Jesus. What happened to Jesus Christ, peace be upon him? What happened to him?
Crucified.
Right? What happened to
by his own?
What happened to Moses? What happened to some of the most powerful people on the planet, right? And their injustice, and how they handled that injustice, putting their faith in God and understanding that, you know, God is the greatest and he is the best of planner. None of this would have happened to me or happened around me or through me if it wasn't by the will of God. Right. So who am I to change the trajectory of what God has intended? I'm nobody to do that. That's just me being real.
No, and I appreciate that. And just to be clear, to be politically correct, too, 99% of companies have the right to terminate anybody at any time with no cause.
For any reason.
So what happened to this gentleman, whether, you know, like obviously to be determined what the outcome from a legality standpoint will be, we're not, you know, making any assumption of what that is. It can happen at anybody at any time. You do not have a business that you own in a network marketing company unless you have equity in the company. You have a 1099, and that's a form in the United States, or you're an independent contractor of a company that is employing you on commission base only. At any time, they can say, hey, I'm glad you're making $1 million a month. We no longer want to have you work with us. Have a good life. And they absolutely legally, morally, regardless to anything that you believe, legality, they can do that. And that's the agreement that you signed on. So just make sure, when I tell everybody, build your own brand, don't build companies, it's not because you shouldn't be excited about the company's potential as a vehicle, but you're the driver. The car can be changed at any time.
100%.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
All right. I appreciate you digging a little bit and giving us a little bit of perspective on that. I want to talk to you on a different angle, if I can still stay on the theme of the hard questions, if I got your permission. You have a very public stance on what is going on in the Middle East, as much as many in the world do. And many would say, well, you're living in the United States and you're enjoying the privilege of the United States, but then you're criticizing the United States. Now, I'm not saying that what you're talking about publicly is not valid, but there's a lot of people who follow you who might not understand, or a lot of people in general who are uneducated. You know, there's some people they're like, oh, you're from Morocco. I'm like, yeah, like it's in Europe, right? I'm like, no, you're thinking about Monaco. Morocco is in Northwest Africa, right? Ignorance sometimes could lead people for making the wrong assumptions. So I'd love for you, your stance on the whole circumstance in Israel and Palestine, which is a conflict that is thousands of years in the making. And a lot of people don't understand the history. You know, the Great Britain had an agreement with the actual Jewish state that was promised that eventually at one point that was signed, that we're going to put you under the protection of Palestine to be able to live in an Israeli state, which the Palestinians were like, okay, yeah, sure, we can have you welcome in here. And then 1948 happens. They're like, it's a country. Half of your country is gone. And then the whole world empowered Israel with weaponry, with finances, anything that you desire. And then at one point it became, hey, this is my town, and I'm just expanding the walls and expanding the gates and expanding the borders. And we are where we are today. Your stance is very vocal on the war crimes, on the lives that are being brutally abused. You know, in other words, and I know specifically many of the early content where this recent conflict started between Palestine and Israel, you were like, if a Muslim does it, he's a terrorist. But if Israel does it, they're protecting themselves and defending themselves. And then one specific keyword that a lot of people, it's like they're triggered by or uneducated on is Zionists. Mm-hmm. And you use it a couple of different times. I want to give you an opportunity to educate on the history of that word and what it actually means. And it's not that you're being derogatory. It's not like you're just saying, I'm going to curse you out and call you that name. Not, yeah. Please educate, and then, share with us. And I want to give you an opportunity, because a lot of the uneducated, Islam is not saying we want to kill all people who are not Muslim.
Of course.
Islam is not for, terrorism and bombing. And I know, unfortunately, the last couple of decades, the narrative and the TV shows, and you watch any show, whenever there's a terrorist, it's automatically either, Muslim, Pakistani, specifically Afghani, Iraqi, Syrian. If it's some mafia stuff, it's Italian. If it's you know, some underground crimes, it's Russian. It's never the American, right?
Right.
So please help us understand the thoughts behind your stance, where it's been developed, especially, and I say this with love, especially you come from a country that has a historic conflict with the United States, and whenever people think 9/11, they think Afghanistan, and they assume stuff. Please talk to us from the heart. It's
for sure.
It's a complicated question, but I think we can get through it.
I love the way you asked it, and hopefully I remember every piece of it. But I want to start off by addressing what you said early in the question about the United States of America. So the United States of America, I want to create an example here. So imagine you have an incredible father, right? Your dad is an amazing guy. He comes through for you. He's amazing. He's done everything for you in his life. And all of a sudden he starts cheating on your mom, and he stops paying the bills, and he starts taking care of another family.
Do you know my dad or something? Is this what's happening? No. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, like you talk about my father.
That's great. But imagine, right? All of a sudden you have this incredible guy who's been your right-hand man your whole life.
Seriously, that's my father, but go on.
So look, what are you going to do? Do you criticize your father today for his actions?
So not only I did, and this is all public, obviously, I love my family to death. I was the one when I was 7 years old, when I called my mother and I said, Dad had another woman in here in the house, and forever till I grew up, I held myself responsible for that burden that I broke up the whole family. But yeah, that's tough. That's
and I'm sorry you had to go through that. Like,
I went through therapy for the last 12 months. I am good.
It's important. You got to go through therapy. Bro. You deserve to make sure you're fully healed. But my point is, right? You criticized your father. You told him what was up. You wanted to make sure that everything was good at home. That's how I view the U.S. Right? Like, the U.S. is bring me you're hungry, you're tired, you're poor. Right? The U.S. is a Statue of Liberty. The U.S. is a melting pot. This is what we're taught. This is how I grew up. So you have to understand that at the core, those fundamentals were built when you were growing up. Like, 100%. This is supposed to be for everybody. Yeah. And it still is, right? I want to make it very, very clear. It still is. And a little bit too much, because now the border's open, but that's a whole nother conversation, right? And I used to be a huge liberal. I was very democratic. And after the way the Biden administration pulled out of Afghanistan, and I watched those people fall off the plane, and I saw the rhetoric, the trillions of dollars we spent to destroy Afghanistan and dismantle the Taliban, and within 10 hours they were in the capital.
Give it right back.
And it was like, oh my God, like, how could this isn't the right way? So anyway, so the US to me is the highest level of what good should look like.
So your level of accountability is just
so all it is accountability, right? It doesn't mean like I love this country. It's given me everything.
And just for the record, you know, I'm asking you this question because you're in front of me, but there are thousands of mega influencers. They're white, black, Asian, and every creed. They are sharing the same field. But I just wanted to make sure,
right? Because if you look at the liberal agenda, they're criticizing the government for being too conservative.
Correct.
And then the conservative
vice versa
is criticizing.
You know what I call that? You can root for the left wing or the right wing. It all belongs to the same old bird.
Exactly. Exactly. So I just want to make that very clear. So in terms of what's happening right now, like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Jewish people are some of the most persecuted people on the planet. They have been for years. Look at what happened with the Pharaoh. Look at what happened in Egypt. I mean, history is there, and these are documented factual things. We look at the Holocaust. We look at what happened after the Holocaust. Where did the Jews first come? The United States of America. The U.S. turned them away, right? The UK turned them away. Yeah. And then that's how the Balfour Agreement was
where we get
created
to Israel.
He brought up the fact that, you know, and the Palestinians welcomed their Jewish friends with open arms. Now, I want to make something very clear. Of course, Jews were living in Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the Canaanites for 3,500 years, and Christians and everybody, pagans were living.
That was the ultimate
Palestine.
Melting pot.
The world started there. Yeah. Jesus was born on the land today that is Palestine. Yeah. I mean, so the point is this, right? When you look at the way that whole part of the world is set up, the world was created there. So in fact, Palestine is yours. It's Richard's. It's whoever's watching this. Palestine's yours. Jerusalem is ours. That's everything is there for us. It's ours. It's our land. That's where Abrahamic faith started, right? So Now, there were always Jews living in Palestine. Jews were always living in Egypt, Iraq, Afghanistan. Jews were living there, right? The Jewish people who came in 1918, right? They are what you would call Ashkenazi Jews, right? Ashkenazi Jewish people are Jewish people who, if you go to a Jewish settler right now in the West Bank and you ask them, give me 10 generations back, where's your 10th great grandfather from? They're going to say Romania, Russia, Czechoslovakia, Serbia, whatever. They're going to give you some Eastern European country. So the concept of a birthright government, you automatically take being a democracy off the table. You're not.
Even if you take a test today about your DNA, you're going to find, like I did one. I'm like everywhere,
100%
in one body.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the part that frustrates me about this. So it's not so much that Jews don't belong in Palestine. They do. Ashkenazi Jews belong in Palestine as well. Everybody belongs in Palestine, as I mentioned. The problem is this: after the Ottoman Empire fell, the United Kingdom was responsible, and all these borders that you see, Iraq, Afghanistan, all of these were created by the West, all propped up like plastic, and they broke it down completely wrong. One of the reasons why Afghanistan has had so much problems is when they made the border, they included Kandahar inside Afghanistan, which caused a lot of the issues inside Afghanistan, which caused a lot of the issues in Pakistan, which caused a lot of the issues in Kashmir. Look at the whole concept of India and Pakistan, right? What's going on over there and the conflicts that they've had is because the way these borders were created and how they were given.
Kashmir people and Punjabis are like one of the cultures that's been completely dismantled. I mean,
it's crazy to see. And there's so much injustice against Punjabis. Like literally they went through a whole like 48-hour period of just being butchered many years ago. I don't remember what that event was called.
No, it's still they are the most scrutinized,
persecuted people. Yeah. So the point is, when we see what's happening right now in Palestine, I don't care what happened in the last 75 years. I don't care what's happened in the last 35,000 years. I don't care what's happened in the last 3,500 years. When you have the Gaza Strip, and everybody calls it an open air prison, I'm not even going to go there because that triggers people to make excuses and nullify your argument. The Gaza Strip, right? When you look at the Gaza Strip, people say, oh, but the IDF left the Gaza Strip in 2006. Yeah, they left Gaza Strip in 2006, but they created a blockade. Nobody can leave. Nobody can come in. They don't even have access to their maritime. They can't even go in the water and go fishing. They don't own that water. When you go to the border of Egypt and Palestine, when you go to Rafah City, go look at that whole nightmarish situation, right? So when you look at what's happened in Gaza now, today, right now, you have 2.4 million people who are displaced, living in the tiniest plot of land ever. And this is the most overpopulated, oversaturated place in the earth, with no access to their own energy, no access to their own water. Everything is controlled and regulated by the Israeli government.
Which the Israeli government at one point during this conflict, they cut off.
Yeah, they cut off the electricity multiple times, and now they're preventing aid from going in. My point is, over 12,000 kids have been killed. Over 12,000 kids have been killed. It breaks my heart to even talk about it, bro. 12,000 kids have been killed. Over 30,000 people have been killed, mostly women and children.
This is just in this recent conflict.
Just since October 7th.
So just a little bit of context. Jews, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, I don't care what faith it is. Just hearing that 12,000 lives have been taken, that's just bad.
Kids, bro. They put out a video of the 34,000 people who were killed and murdered, and the video is 7 minutes long. It's 7 minutes long, and it has their name and their age, and there's age 00000, and you just look at this thing. It takes 7 minutes and 28 seconds to go through the list of names, right? All these people are persecuted. They're being killed. Now, here's the thing. You'll see people on Patrick Bet-David's podcast talk about, oh, if there's a genocide, then why did the population of Gaza increase? How come it's 2.4 million? And because those people are refugees from the West Bank. They've been forced out of the West Bank by illegal settlements into Gaza. That's why the population has gone up. It's not just because there's new births. The Palestinian population inside Palestine is not 50xing. what's happening is these people are being shifted and relocated into the Gaza Strip. Now, check this out before you say what you say.
I was going to challenge with something. Go
ahead. Challenge.
No. I want to hear your thoughts.
So just very recently, they've taken everyone out of North and Central Gaza and they've moved them to Rafah City, which is at the border of Egypt and Gaza. Okay. What they're doing now is Benjamin Netanyahu has said the new plan is there's too much violence happening in Rafah City. We need to go on offensive in Rafah City. There's 1.8 million people in Rafah right now. How are you going to go on offensive with 1.8 million people? And where are they going to go now? They're going to go to northern Gaza that you've decimated. There's no schools. Every mosque has been blown up. Every school has been blown up. And then on top of that, the IDF and the Israeli government are a propaganda machine that is by far one of the most intricate, talented, warmongering entities I've ever seen. Because in the very beginning of the conflict, when they bombed the hospital, they claimed it was an accident, and they claimed that it was actually a Hamas rocket that misfired and came back into the hospital, right?
Which I remember I saw you share that. So let me for that or those individuals who may be watching right now say, yeah, but the Palestinian government and or authorities are they allow Hezbollah and Hamas, organizations who may have wrongdoers. And I think everybody has wrongdoers. I mean, look at white nationalists in the United States and the horrible things that they've done over the years. But the government of Palestine should be removing anything from Hamas or any authority figures from any of those organizations. Are they part of the problem? Are they a terrorist? Or because they're documented, and I said that's why I said I got a challenging question, and this is on behalf of that one knucklehead who may be in the comment right now talking smash. So I do have to ask: Hezbollah, Hamas have been called out by the West. I know. We said we gotta keep it real. So if there was no mics or cameras, the conversation I would be having with you, would we say that the truth is not completely portrayed about Hamas and Hezbollah, and they're good organizations and they're just being displaced or talked about as terrorist organizations? Or many of the Muslim countries are sellouts who are calling those very same organizations terrorist organizations? Like where's the line, and how do we justify some of the decisions that Hamas and Hezbollah have made to may have a little bit of challenges? Because my stance, and I'll take it in, let's take it out of Israel and Palestine. I was 2014. Remember the Baltimore riots?
Yes.
Okay. I was on a show and somebody, and they were asking me like, Ali, you were born in Africa and you're here an American citizen, so therefore you're an African-American. Can you tell us about your stand and how African-Americans are being oppressed by the police in Baltimore? And my answer was, I think that we all have to have a sense of responsibility where the chief of police is to retrain the police force. And I think we got to teach our children how to operate from understanding the law and understanding respect and understanding those blurred lines. So how do we go about Hezbollah/Hamas and the rest of the world that is just saying bad Palestine because you're hosting Hezbollah and Hamas, good Israel because you're saying that these guys are like, do you understand where I'm going with the question?
No, for sure. So like, in order to answer this question, we have to go through a lot, right? Because first and foremost, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis were not labeled a terrorist organization. Now they are by the U.S. government. All of these little factions that have popped up and they've developed a stance or a resistance against what's happening right now, these individuals feel as if though they're here to protect their land and protect their people. This is their feeling and their agenda. And here's how I can elaborate on that, right? Let's talk a little bit about Al-Qaeda, which is a full-blown terrorist organization, ISIS, full-blown terrorist organization, Daesh, yeah. These people had an agenda and an ideology that they spread to people. They come in here right now, they say, pledge allegiance to this guy's your Khalifat. If you don't agree to this, we're going to put a bullet in your head, put a burqa on your wife. You have no rights, this, that, boom, boom, boom.
So you have no choice but
to comply. Yeah. Hamas doesn't do that. Hezbollah doesn't do that. The Houthis, they don't do that. They don't do that. You go, bro, to Gaza Strip, where Hamas was elected, you will see women at the beach in bikinis people drink alcohol, they go party, they smoke shisha. There was no
oppression.
compulsion.
It's not like in Iran where it's like, okay.
Correct. There was no like spewing of an ideology.
Interesting. I did not know that.
In terms of, yeah, bro, go look at even some of the journalists that are, advocating for Palestine right now. If you go look at their posts from September last year, 2 years ago, you'll see them. No scarf, no hijab, no nothing. Because we have to remember,
it belongs to
Palestine
everybody.
Is a place where Christians, Jews, and Muslims live
Come out
alike.
of, yeah.
And it was never meant to be a place where it's just one faith and one faith only, or certain rules and certain rules only. So here's the thing. Elon Musk said this best before he flipped the script. He said, how many members of Hamas were created after all the people that the Israeli IDF bombings killed? How many more new members of Hamas were created because people watched their fathers be killed? And
of course. I mean, that's a conversation that I have with my wife all the time. I'm like, you see a young man from Iraq or Syria who's angry and he's like, I'm going to get them all back. And you're like, wow, man, he's so radicalized. He's so, and I usually ask, hurt people.
Right.
Right. What happened to that guy that he became so angry because he saw his father right in front of him, where his father's just praying, looking up, and then out of the sky, there's a drone just shot him down for no reason, and it's called collateral damage. So I understand how that could create more individuals.
It creates more hate for sure. And the one thing I do want to add is we have to kind of, have you ever read the book, The Economic Hitman?
No.
It's an incredible book.
I'll check it out. Yep.
In that book, you will find that he talks about a situation where, I'm sure everybody knows who Saddam Hussein is. Saddam Hussein was a senior, was a senior in high school when he was contacted by the CIA it was him and like 6 other guys in high school who were contacted by the CIA to essentially kill the current president of Iraq to create a coup.
Oh, I'm familiar with the story.
This is documented.
My favorite quote from Saddam Hussein when he was asked about American weaponry, he said about weapons for that matter overall, and he said, America knows that all the weapons that I bought is from them. They got the receipts.
And I bring this up because when we look at Al-Qaeda, who's Osama bin Laden? He was used by U.S. proxy
against the Soviets
because the United States had failed in Vietnam because how much money China and Russia spent there for the United States to not do well, that they needed to make sure they could have victory or somewhat of a victory in Afghanistan. And the Mujahideen, the freedom fighters, again, bro, go look at the movie Braveheart. They're fighting alongside the Mujahideen. They're fighting alongside Al-Qaeda. So they were revered at one point in American viewpoint. So now you have a guy like Osama, who was at one point leveraged as proxy to the U.S., who creates Al-Qaeda. Then you look at ISIS. There's reports out there where Israel has funded ISIS in Syria and in
because their
Iraq.
agenda were in alignment.
Correct, I hear Bashar. But then we also have to take a step further and look who created Hamas. Who created Hamas? Hamas was created by Israel to oppose the PLO. See, the PLO, I think it was the PLO. I can't remember the exact name of the party, but it was up and coming and it was doing really well. And they needed to create competition. So Hamas was created by Israel to compete with the Palestinian party that was gaining a lot of traction. And there's videos out there of Benjamin Netanyahu saying that we need an enemy in Gaza so we can continue to move forward with our agenda of more settlements and making this a birthright state and making Israel a completely Jewish place. So when the ICJ, right, says that there's justification for this to be considered a genocide and ethnic cleansing, and their investigation is happening, and they will come up with a resolution here pretty soon, and it will show, because of the things that Benjamin Netanyahu and the people in his cab, human animals is what the Palestinians were referred to, human animals. And when you compare people to animals, that right there is the whole concept of genocide. And we're seeing people, they're saying, oh, these are Hamas members that we've captured. you know, zip tied, blindfolded in their boxers, sat on the floor, being transported like human animals. And then now they're unearthing, you know, mass graves of people who were killed execution style with their hands tied behind their back. And who killed them? Right. So when we look at what's happening in Israel, this is not a Jewish thing. This is not a Muslim thing. This is not
that was going to be
Arab
my
thing.
point. Like your stance is not about the whose faith are we talking about? It's rather who's the bully and who's being
correct. If today Hamas or the Palestinians,
if it was the other way around, you would be having the same stance against Hamas and Hezbollah.
I will always speak out against injustice at every level, especially when it comes to human lives, because at the end of the day, I'm going to have to face my creator one day. And when I do, I'm going to be asked, what did you do when this happened? Right. And I see injustice happening every single day in America, in Bosnia, in Armenia. I speak out against what the Turks are doing in Armenia right now. I think that that's absolutely disgusting. What's happening in Syria right now. You go to, I went to Turkey for the first time a few years ago. Breaks your heart. You see all these Syrian refugees with no future, no education. What's going to come of these people? What? And there's nothing we can do to help these people. So it's not about, you know, I don't even want to like Zionism or this like agenda that they want to wipe out and take over the whole world and they control the media and all that stuff. I don't care about that. My concern is innocent people dying and not having a future. That's the issue. And if this was happening to anyone, whatever happens in Nigeria at injustice, Ethiopia,
which is not even being talked about,
which not even being talked about, disgusting. But we have to, the main issue is this though, the industrial war complex, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Raytheon, BlackRock, these people just need perpetual warfare. What's going on in Ukraine? That needs to be extended so that they can have the money come out of the taxpayer dollar through Ukraine, back to Raytheon, back to BlackRock. Again, it's new money for them now. So until the industrial war complex stops, these agendas will continue.
That's a whole topic that we can dig into in our next episode. Yeah. We're getting the sign from Mr. Rich over there, our CPO, like, wrap it up already, wrap it up. Yeah, so check this out. Make sure that you follow Ali Saleh on Instagram at ali.wealth. And I can promise you we're going to have a second round. I am so grateful for you taking the time to share with us what I believe is a motivational story about your family and, you know, hustling through life to make it to where you are and working for everything that you have. I appreciate you educating and bringing light on some of the things that we have to have as quote unquote leaders and from a social responsibility to those who are following us. And I appreciate you also shedding light on it is not about just a faith component or about racial issues. It's about just the fact that there is a bully and there are 13,000 people or 35,000 people that have suffered, regardless to gender, regardless to age, regardless to faith and whatnot. And I appreciate you allowing us to learn a little bit more about you as a human being, because I think it's extremely important, and to give me the opportunity to celebrate this moment with you. I think this is a start to something amazing, something great. I can't wait for you to come back. I know you're working on a lot of things behind the scene. And as some closing remarks for that one person, and just look right there, that one person who may have misunderstood you or didn't just dig your past when they worked with you and whatnot. What is your message to that one person about, here's who I am, here's what I want, and here's what I'm planning on doing?
So first of all, I want to thank you, bro, for having me on here. I think you're an awesome guy, and we definitely started off on the wrong foot, over a year ago, but I'm grateful we were able to build a relationship and kind of keep the connection going. And thank you for welcoming me here, bro. I really appreciate it. I mean, my closing remarks are people have the right to think and feel whatever they want and to decide what they feel is best for them and good for them. And, today I came on here to just be like the realist me I can be and be authentic and just kind of, help people understand a little bit more about my mindset and how I tick and how I move. But at the end of the day, what I'm looking for is to just continuously create a safe place for people to empower themselves, to step into their power, to do more, have more, and become more, and to understand that there's more to life than just money and the opinions of other people. It's all about your peace and your serenity and focusing on things that, you know, energetically align with you. I think that's what 2024 is all about. It's just about doing things that actually make you happy. Stop chasing money, stop chasing people, stop chasing clout and recognition, because it serves no purpose. Figure out ways to get involved with philanthropy and really help other people in their lives and change lives. And I think if you know me, you know that that's what I've been about my entire career. And I'm going to continue to be that guy. And I'm going to continue to move the needle forward in the right direction in those respective spaces. So just understand, I have a clean heart. I have a heart of gold. I want to make sure that you guys are all in a position to win. And hopefully you learned a little bit more about me and you understand that I'm actually a soft guy, you know, like I can be a teddy bear, but I could also fight for you if I need to. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And I look forward to getting more out of the ME podcast.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We come to an end to another exclusive. Remember, if you have a business or a concept, or if you're ready to scale your company, Madawi Enterprise are here to deliver. We can absolutely work with you from forming a concept, bringing it into marketplace, getting you a whole campaign, from press releases, from getting you on our show and leveraging our networks, getting you viral worthy content, and of course, any area of business that you need, we 100% have it amongst 14 other brands that we have within Madawi Enterprise. So I appreciate it. And I thank you. Huge shout out to Rich Tomes behind the scene doing what he does, making it come to life. Huge shout out to Medina Saleh, who could not make it today. We love and appreciate you letting us borrow this man right in here. And for everybody who works tirelessly hard from the ME show to make it come to life. Until next time, tell them peace out, everybody.
Later.
A world of knowledge is right at your fingertips. Beyond our signature Great Discovery course, we offer a treasure trove of impactful learning courses across a multitude of subjects. Elevate your success with courses crafted by global experts. Accessible in 140 plus countries with real-time translations in most languages. Enjoy an affordable monthly membership. Get unlimited course access and have exclusive discounts. Embrace opportunities. Earn as you learn with our affiliate program. Be part of our vibrant community. Learn, share, teach, or do it all. Unleash your true potential today. It's all about you. Escape no on dich. Es todo acerca de ti. Todo es关于你的. Es tout sur di te. Il n'est question que de toi. Welcome to the Great Discovery.